Alright, we're gonna start here. And then whatever doesn't work, I'll complain about and take out and do the whole thing, so. Alright, we're here with Niv-Mizzet Perun. I haven't played this in apparently 2 years. The last time I did play this, there was a weight system still, bracket system, whatever you want to call it, where we point-based weight system. So I actually named the deck Niv-Mizzet Low Weight, so you could play against weaker opponents. After a very small stress test, it seems as though this is not, in fact, way up in Tier 1. It doesn't quite surprise me, but it's still just blue. It has, like, the Brawl blue package and then, like, red stuff. It has Curiosity as a combo. If you ever put Curiosity on Niv-Mizzet, you just win, because you draw and you can't stop until someone is dead. However, if your opponent has 500 life, you will deck out. So just, yeah. Mana Rocks, this is a weird Mana Rock, but it works. It has a different kind of plus that works, and then a random ultimate that might win at some point. I don't know. I was trying to find... The only reason I want to play this is because I thought there were more... Or I was curious if there were more ways to find Curiosity, but there really isn't. There's one, but it requires... Well, there's one that comes to mind. I mean, there's probably a card I'm not aware of, so I'm going to be yelled at later. But there is this one that finds something of a certain mana value, so if Curiosity is the only thing to find, then this would become a way to find it. However, the mana this generates doesn't really help you cast Niv-Mizzet, and it's just weird to cast this on 4 and then just sack it as like a... At that point, it's like a delayed Diabolic Tutor, and that's a little weird. It's also forces me to be more restrictive on what I put in my deck. And I don't think that's a good idea, especially with Signet Talisman as things now in the game. They obviously weren't at the time. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's just blue-red control. Play this. It is uncounterable. You don't have to play Cavernous Souls. And yeah, I can't think of any other thing to say. So, oh wait, this was actually in here 2 years ago, and it's in here still. I think this is still worth trying. I like this card when it's in play. I don't hate it if I have to cast it later, but it's kind of cool. This might not be right, though. Giving this flash means I can decide when to cast it. That doesn't make any sense. It lets me cast it when I, just like with Splinter Twin, you just flash it in and then untap, and there's like a very small window, if any window, for your opponent to stop you, because you didn't just tap out and then pass with this in play. So the mana cost of this is pretty steep color-wise, so Ancient Tomb looks weird, but Ancient Tomb is still just probably one of the best lands, if not the best land in here, regardless, because it's still Ancient Tomb. And, yep, let's see what happens. It was higher weighted before. Okay, well that just answers it. This is not anywhere near the top. It's not even in the top. Like, I've never even played against this. No, that's not true. I've seen this before. It is mono green, so it's not like I just win immediately for no reason. I said I wouldn't play it out, but now I actually want to play it out, because my opponent's deck is cool. This is a 3-4, right? Yeah. My opponent is playing exceedingly fast. Do I just get rid of this? No, I think we just play this and then concern ourselves with getting rid of things. Ambush Vipers do not block Niv-Mizzet. Oh, they have Strip Mine. Alright, fortunately that doesn't really do anything. Other than Strip Mine me, obviously. So, get a blue-red. Let's not make this a thing. Treasures. How does this work? 7 or more lands, and then you start to do things off the top. Hey, that's an uncounterable creature. Look at that. That's an Ambush Viper, which I believe draws a card. Yeah. Let's cast that. Let's get rid of this. rid of that. And I can Fire Prophecy on my opponent's turn to get another treasure, which just breaks even. I don't think I need Ancient Tomb. It doesn't help me cast this. So. They said oops, but I don't know what they did right or wrong. I'm not aware. I don't typically play against viewers. Actually, I almost never, ever, ever play against viewers. So, probably not gonna do that. Pass. Opponent grabs random 3/4. Nice. This shuffles, right? No, it just puts stuff to the bottom that they may or may not want to have put to the bottom. Alright, they didn't even see the counterspell, they just gave up. Very interesting. They just gave up very quickly. Boulder Fist Ogre? Yes. Yes, this is true. Best stats for the cost. You know, that's funny. I actually, for the first time ever, I stopped playing Hearthstone. I've been playing it since it came out, and as of a month ago, I just uninstalled it. It feels weird to not play it. I'm looking at it in the BattleNet launcher like, man, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. And I just finally stopped. Opponent says nice. I guess it's impressive. They have a, okay, I'm not gonna actually shuffle. Oh, I drew the... No! Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Let's play... Let's do it now, then? Is there a stifle? I'm getting a stifle vibe. Alright, there wasn't a stifle. I thought there was a stifle. My opponent said nice. I got scared. Yeah, this is just the event things are kind of a lot to me, and I just got a bit burnt out. So let's find... I'm not upset with anything that this could potentially hit. Blue. Red. Alright, that worked out. Another land is a card. Yep, another land is a card. Draft in Hearthstone, I never liked. That was one thing I never played. It felt like the games played themselves. Like, you must play your 1-drop, you must play your 2. It's just curve out perfectly, and then if you ever get a 2-for-1, you just suddenly catapult ahead of your opponent. Mind Stone. Alright, my opponent is aware that I cannot cast Niv-Mizzet, so that is a easy shuffle. Ideally, there's no land here. Very unlikely, though. What? There's no land? Oh. Ooh. Oh, no. I'm very surprised I just saw a Eureka player there. I can't kill Eureka. A braid does not kill Eureka. I was mulliganing for a specific thing, so I didn't get unlucky or anything. I was just blitzing for a necessary card. That's why I mulliganed so much. It's not like I got unlucky. Let's get an island, I think. Yeah. So many matchups are 90-10. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. Let's, alright, 1 into 3 is actually lights out, but I don't have any respect for it right now, so I'm just gonna play this. There are definitely 90-10 matchups, though, but not all of them. No, Eureka has hexproof. My opponent can give it hexproof. I can't kill it. So we're balancing on a knife's edge here, but it's a knife's edge that can be balanced on. Alright, my opponent played the best thing ever there. That's tragic. I needed specifically not a fetch land, and I don't even know why this mono green deck is playing a fetch land. Because if it's just for Bursley Bill, that doesn't make sense. So there must be something else. Yep. They have 4. Okay. Well, I'm losing. One, two, three, four, five, six. I can play Niv-Mizzet, and then Bristly Bill might not win the game on its own. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that not do that. Yeah, Nissa Cobra, Tyler's Provisioner. Look, I was in denial for a second. I don't need to be reminded about what green does. Let me fantasize for once in my life. There is absolutely no way I have respect for a single thing. I don't care. I have no respect here. Absolutely no respect. Titania. That's a blast zone. That's interesting. There's no way there's a fight effect. I just outright refuse to believe that. It would actually be a little weird in a Kona deck to have one. They can cast Kona if they don't tap the Bristly Bill. Okay, oh no, they can't cast. I mean, they could have cast Kona there. They had the option. You're talking about the 5/3 Titania? Or the bear thing? But the bear one's already been in the game. Yeah, the 5/3 one. Yeah. Okay, so boop. Yeah, I guess there's no way to tap it, but you could still cast it. I was tapped out, and now I am not. So, no. Let's go here and here. I'm curious what my opponent could have here that I'm concerned with. Probably not much, honestly. Unless you discard a basic land. Well, that's toxic. Alright. Bristly Bill didn't get there. Look at that. Oh, I'm on the play, too. Look at that. There are some worlds where this is right, and I think this is one of those worlds. Let's get rid of you. Okay. That's fine. Mostly just looking for lands here. What does this do when it dies? Treasure token, treasure token. Do I negate that? Yeah, we negate this, actually. Yeah, we just negate that. So, I can do the thing and make it so the only way to stop it is by casting a non-instant or non-sorcery. I can do that. And that is a little reckless. It's not guaranteed. Clayton? What? Yeah, might as well, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just sit on that, though. So we can do it, and if they have the Edict creature, we lose the game. And if they don't, we win the game. And that's about it. So I don't care or have any respect towards any card. You cannot cast an instant, you cannot cast a sorcery, you lose on the spot. It has to be Marauder. Alright, get wrecked. Either they weren't aware, or they just didn't have an answer. And if they didn't have an answer, they should have not cast this, obviously. So I don't think they were aware of how this worked. Cool. I guess I'll keep this. Why not? Turn 1 Colossus Hammer. Nice. You... I wonder what my opponent grabs here. Colossus Hammer is kind of strange, isn't it? There's not a lot of ways to move equipment for free. Yeah, we'll take that as well. What equipment do you tutor? Fire and Ice? The only thing I can think of. It's the ultimate protection spell, so I guess that would make sense. Yep. My opponent did think about it, though, which is interesting. They didn't just grab it immediately. Or maybe they were just scrolling through and looking for it. But I can't imagine there's more than like 10 equipment anyways. It would be a little weird. Something to learn from how fast they found that, though. Something to think about. Do I just stasis Cloud? What does that even do? Why would I stasis this? It doesn't do anything, right? Yeah. Sure. I think blowing up the protection equipment is vastly superior to anything else anyways, so let's just go ahead and do that. We can play Opt, I guess. Signet is fine. Okay. Ancient Tomb, Grand Abolisher. Interesting. I haven't seen a Grand Abolisher in a minute. That's kind of neat. What are we doing with it, though? Lion Sash. Also interesting. Strange. So we have to get rid of this now if I want to play the game on my opponent's turn, which I kind of still do, I would say. With a bit of confidence there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could have kept the land and bottomed the Fire Mine Vessel, I suppose. Could have done that. They have the mana to move the Batter Skull, so static or stasis fielding it doesn't really do anything. I'm not dead if they swing next turn, right? What was that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am not dead, so we can just pass. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which is fine. Yep, that's just fine. We just take it. Sure. Yeah. That's fine. They didn't tap the Ancient Tomb for that. Maybe a mistake? Probably not a mistake, but just something to think about. Something to think about. I highly doubt you're playing more cards. Never mind. I was wrong. Well, it's not Mana Tithe, so I don't know what it is, though. I can flash in Niv-Mizzet. Can I also do something else, is the question. I don't have to think right now. Everything is in my opponent's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can't River's Rebuke and Niv-Mizzet, and I can't River's Rebuke on the end step here, so I guess I just wait for them to go to combat and see what to do with my stuff. Holding priority? Oh, you think there's no card in hand? Okay, that's fair. That could be the case. So I basically made my decision that this is what I'm doing because, well, now I have to. So let's do this. Really? But you have all your mana, you can just redeploy. 1, 2, you have 7 mana. What is this? Okay. It's the Eureka, but way worse. The payoff is random dumb Eldrazi, I guess. That's not normally what people say when they use the word free, but I suppose that is true. Pass. We did get 3 new big Eldrazi. That's pretty cool. They don't have Annihilator, but I guess that doesn't matter. That is notably not an Eldrazi, that's just a ninja. Kind of weird. Island. This is not a red source. Do I kill that thing? I guess? I guess so. How many eggs would I get to in a 10-minute egg eating? What? I don't know, 6? Maybe 12? Bitter Blossom. Huh? Alright, do we expect removal? We haven't untapped with Niv-Mizzet yet, and it's only been 2 hours, so I'm overdue for it. Surely this is the game. Wait, why is this... Oh, because of the colorless of the Gemstone Cavern. Alright. I said that a couple turns ago, and here it is coming up again. Fair enough. Nothing I can do about it. I shouldn't have shocked myself, though, obviously. I should eat more? I guess. I mean, I eat 2,000 calories a day. So that would be kind of normal. Huh, what are we doing here? What is so hard? I wish I knew. Alright, let's get rid of that. Brainstorm, huh? Does that matter? Alright, put us over it. I don't know what my opponent was thinking about. They shocked themselves and then gave up. God, there's a lot. It would be nice if Spiteful Banditry actually did something for once. Maybe this will be the game. I'm going to play this as my land. I'm not going to Chrome Mox. I could have, though, but I didn't. What does that do? Stuff? Ooh, I shouldn't have cracked here. That was a mistake. Oh well. Should have just held on to it. Another land is fine. Yes. No brainstorm. Unless there's like a Thoughtseize. I didn't actually. Should probably not auto yield. Doesn't look like a Thoughtseize to me. Opponent wants their Shield Druid. Beautiful. So for 2 is not enough. Ward, pay, spaghetti. Yeah, I should not have paid life or fetched on in that way. That was a mistake. Mistake for quite a few reasons, actually. Veto. Veto. Alright, let's do this. Okay, let's get rid of you. You, 3. This is ideal. Look at it, did something. Yay. Is this where we just lose to Shieldred though? Maybe not. I kind of probably should cast this before they cast Shieldred. Okay, looks like they can't cast Shieldred. Is this the game we untap with Niv-Mizzet? That's the next question. Unfortunately, I'm not casting the fetch land here. I think I cast... In response to a removal spell, I always cast the Brainstorm. Imagine trying to untap with your commander. Actually imagine. Could you imagine? I can't imagine. Let's do that. I can recast it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But then I don't have anything else, and that seems reckless. Oh, I should have fetched. Oops. Okay, my bad. Hey, they're over it. I guess they're over it anyways. It didn't matter. But I should have used the fetch land because of the land there. I just got... I used the land drop to see where I was with this instead of actually thinking about it. I don't think Magda would have committed any crime that game. Right? No, I don't think so. Opponent gets rid of Shieldred's Edict. Oh, that's great. Great news. Island... do I shock myself? Of course we shock ourselves. Do we play around anything? Of course not. We're not here to respect things. Of course, the draw-go game. My opponent just has the best thing in the universe. For the draw-go game. Why not? It looks like I can actually untap and cast my commander, but there could be removal spells, so that doesn't really amount to anything. My opponent did bin Shieldred's Edict for some reason. I'm going to get rid of a land. We can play it, it dies, can try again later, and then lose to my opponent's commander, so that just seems profoundly stupid. Though I would like to have something else going on. But I just don't. No way to attack my opponent's graveyard either. Didn't expect that card. Cast it. Have 3 mana up. And then lose if it dies, right? No, I don't lose if it dies. Alright, we can cast it and it effectively replaces itself. Which I really like here. Do I cast it? Do I cast another card? No, we don't try to defend it. That seems reckless. Opponent has 1 mana. I can cast this and completely deny. Oh no, I just win. I just win. Who needs to untap with Niv-Mizzet when you can just win? Oh look, Pact of Negation. It only took 2.5 hours to be in my hand once. Crazy. Get that. Yeah, lands are okay, right? Okay. Wow, no green 1-drop? Crazy. Is the turnaround real? Let's do red. They didn't get a Surveil land. Opponent's not playing it because they're smart. Like to see it. Should we pack that? No? Okay. Wait, what do we... Ruby? Okay. For some reason some commanders in my brain, I don't even read them. Maybe it's subconscious. It's like, oh, it's Ruby. You don't have to actually know what it does. Because it's just a mana dork. They don't swing. They don't play anything. They didn't even swing with their commander. Alright, very strange. 1, 2, 3 mana, 5 total. I don't know. Holy... Okay. Gotta keep that. So, does this matter? Not particularly. I don't think anything in play matters. I would argue. I drew 3 basics in a row. Good time to cast Thirst for Discovery then, I guess. They have 6 mana now. Doesn't get around Stroke or Pact. And some creatures just don't get around Unable to Scream at all. Now we swing. What does that mean? We didn't swing last turn. How do you do nothing here? That seems crazy. You're not winning this game swinging for 3 a turn. It makes no sense. That's what I thought. So... I'm not pacting that. That seems stupid. Okay. Can play that. Will play that. Get rid of... Yeah, we take this. Get rid of Mountain. Blue, yep. Okie dokie. Another counterspell is fine. I probably would have countered this, probably. But it wasn't just wasn't what happened. Wasn't part of the plan, I guess. Anne's Rag. Kind of weird looking, but it still does something. Let's not let it do the thing. And I can get rid of Fauna Shaman with Unable to Scream. Do they have a land here? Oh. How is that worth it? I feel like that was not worth it. Maybe it was. I don't know. Feels kind of weird, though, doesn't it? That feels awfully strange. Feels very strange, not going to lie. Okay, Niv-Mizzet, you're up. So cast you. This might be the actual real game in which we untap with Niv-Mizzet. Let's do this. Yeah. So they can't magically find the thing they need to stop Niv-Mizzet from existing. Untap with Niv-Mizzet one time. Please? I don't think that's Magic Arena's fault. I think that's just card games. Sometimes you draw the same cards every game. Although I would like to also blame the shuffler. I can't really blame anything else, honestly, so... The damage face doesn't matter. Let's just poke this in the off chance they actually cast a spell. I'm not going to pack that, obviously. Alright, so I actually untap with Niv-Mizzet. World first. No reason to swing with it. In fact, I don't think I could swing with it. Or we could just win. We could do that too. I'm not going to lie, I kind of wish I didn't draw this. I kind of wish I didn't draw this. But far for me to not take a win. Oh, I was supposed to go face. Oh, they scooped anyways. Okay. No reason to suffer. Alright, so this commander sucks. It just sucks. There's a lot of better blue-red things at this point where this just doesn't matter. I think there was one game. I think there was actually one game, to be fair, where I did actually untap with this, but every other game I played, and I do mean every other game I played, except I think one, where I cast this, I actually did untap with it. So that's just not a thing you do. You can't play on 6 mana. You just can't do that. If you do that, you lose. Or you can just windmill slam it and assume your opponent can't deal with it or something. Or just cast it because you have nothing else to do and draw. It being uncounterable doesn't matter. Decks with counterspells don't care. They'll just deal with it in a different way that's fine. Like, they don't care. In fact, there's some decks that don't even care if it just sits there and draws cards and deals a crap ton of damage. They still just don't care. This commander is no longer a thing. It just isn't. Probably explains why I don't ever see it, even when I'm playing in bracket 5 or whatever. Just never ever see this commander. It's just kind of awful at this point. It's been completely pushed out. You can still get people with the thing, but there's still no super consistent way to find curiosity. You just can't get this card into your hand every game. If this was a black deck and you could tutor for it or whatever, that'd be nice. This deck could probably just do with Paradox Engine 1 Ring, and that would just be a better, like, kind of combo card draw spam thing to win with instead of this. And I probably should have just had those two cards in here, but I just really wanted to get Niv-Mizzet to do something, and it just cannot do anything. It being uncounterable doesn't really save you against control decks. What else? The burn spells are nice, I will say. I like the whole package here. It's worthwhile to stop the infinite army of green decks that play 2 lands in turn 1. Just to be able to lightning bolt the land is nice, but that doesn't save you in the long run. There's a lot of strategies that just don't care about that, which is unfortunate, but that is the case. We could have probably went way heavier in one direction. I don't know what that direction is, but if I just removed even more non-red cards, or just got rid of a lot of these things here, and just drew and played a ton, basically Brawl, if I just played Brawl as my deck, and then had some red cards, like way fewer than this. Magda committing crimes just didn't really end up doing much either. But yeah, if I played a ton of 1, 2, 3 counterspell, you know, whatever illusion Brawl is just going to play. It probably would have been slightly better off that way in that regard, and had read only for Niv-Mizzet and only really went for it with, well, in certain matchups or in spots where curiosity was finally part of the equation, and then I could just win whenever I want or whatever when I get to that point. But that's just not really. I just didn't do that. So, Leyline of Anticipation didn't work either. Like, giving this flash is great, but that doesn't really amount to. You do go down a card. Like, this has to actually be a card you play, but the power of what it does is really good. However, a lot of this deck is already at instant speed, right? Like, how many instants are there? It's 27. Yeah, there's a lot of instants, and I mean, you know, that would make sense. But flashing in your mana rocks really isn't that great. It does give you the option, though, to leave up mana, and if you don't need it, then cast your ramp spell. It's just kind of cool, but just it's just not worth it. It feels to have this, because you just lose a card to turn this ability on, and it just doesn't really feel worth it to me. Especially where in any sort of one-for-one scenario, I'm not super favored in the late one-for-one scenario that I could have with like a control deck, or really a lot of kind of decks. One-for-oneing people with this deck or a deck like this is a little difficult, and then you have to just start ignoring things and hope you can win before those things you ignored kill you. There's just a lot of problems here. If you want a combo deck, there's a ton of blue-red commanders that are already doing something like that way easier. Or actually, I'd just say viable. They can just actually do it. You're just never going to do it. I did it a couple times here, but, you know, it took a lot of losing to do that. So, yeah, I just can't recommend this. And it's kind of cool to see, or interesting to think about, how Niv-Mizzet at one point was all over the place, and I think even in a higher bracket, and in just 2 years, now there's twice as many Magic sets now, so that, I guess you could say 4 years. 4 years worth of the old set release cycle jammed into 2 years. So in just 2 years, Niv-Mizzet went from like a pretty solid thing, you know, you see it pretty often, to now you don't see it at all, period. And it's not because it's there's other commanders and people are interested in playing other things. It's just like, this is not good. It just doesn't get to do what it wants to do at all. I'm sure I could have tuned this around to have it be even slower and greedier or something like that, and or maybe even faster and aggressive, or again go in the Brawl direction. Maybe twice as many artifacts, make it like an artifact deck or something weird like that. But as it stood, the instant sorcery, spell spam, counterspell, burn spell thing, it's just like not that great. This is very different from something like Nicol Bolas or Kefka, and black isn't just the reason for that. There's just things that just don't let this card work out too well. Also, while Ancient Tomb is good, it is notable that Ancient Tomb does not help you cast this, and that is kind of funny. This is still, again, the best land, but the best land in your deck not helping with this, and it still being the best land, is just goes to show how we're past the days of playing this card and having it be like a very scary thing for most people to play against, right? It's like, oh, this is still the best card in your deck, and it doesn't help you cast this, and that alone is a sign that, like, this is over. I don't know what else to say about it. It's got way... like, the cards in this deck are so much better than they were 2 years ago, but that doesn't really matter when, you know, your opponents have all the same... they all have the same situation you do, where everyone's getting more powerful with better cards and stuff, except you're just being outpaced exponentially. I don't even know if you could beat Vivi. I didn't actually see Vivi. I have not seen Vivi since it's been changed, oddly enough. So, in that matchup, I feel like I'm at a grave disadvantage, which is probably not a good sign for Niv-Mizzet if we needed another bad sign for Niv-Mizzet. But I don't think we're really that well prepared for the other blue-red commanders that are trying to do the draw go thing, or trying to have some kind of storm spell spam combo, whatever. Vadrik and Vivi. So those are probably just better than this, and they have their commander actually kind of matter a bit more in like a more relevant stage of the game, whereas you're not playing Niv-Mizzet turn 4 and having the game continue like 4 or 5 turns with it in play. It is a scary thing when it is in play, but it isn't actually that scary when it's in play, right? Kafka, your opponent discards cards to Kafka, and it still draws cards and whatnot, and then it can swing and do it again and again and whatever. The other blue-red commanders cost half as much, but like even in terms of just actually untapping with this, which we never did, and then swinging with it and passing the turn back, that scenario is still pretty good, I will admit. Like, you play Niv-Mizzet, and it's sitting there, and your opponent, it goes back to your opponent, you actually untap with it, and you say go. Now you're in a position that is really problematic, because spells are going to thrash your opponent, but you just can't do that. You can't do that. It's not a thing. It's not real. Sometimes you will have it happen, and honestly, games where, like, let's say Azusa or something green, Rafellos, they can just ignore this, even if you actually do untap with it and pass back. They can actually ignore this and still beat it. Craterhoof exists. Cavernous Souls exists. There's a lot of ways to cheat into play big things. I mean, you're going to draw a card every time they cast a ramp spell. That's great. And I guess ping mana dorks or whatever. But apart from stuff like Brainstorm drawing 3 to get 3 triggers, you're not really going to kill like 6/6s and stuff. Like Primeval Titan is in the game now. If you play Niv-Mizzet and your opponent plays Primeval Titan, the Primeval Titan is just better than this. So, like, green's not great, even if you can actually get this in play and have it live. The second issue now, or the new issue replacing it, is you're playing against a green deck that now probably doesn't even care. So yeah, this just doesn't really... it just doesn't really work out, but who knows? I mean, it's still fun when it's doing the thing, but you just have to suffer a lot to get to one of those kinds of games. Yep, that's it. Alright, so let me know what you thought about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.